Honey, come on over here, sugar buns. This machine just called me an asshole.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Cult Film Review. I am your host, Cody Everett. This week, what I want you to do is stick your keys in the ignition, right? Turn on some sick tunes, make a little AC/DC.
Wow.
Okay? All right?
So you don't want them to listen to the podcast, you want them to listen to AC/DC.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then put their car not into drive. No, I want them to put it in maximum overdrive.
Stupid.
Because that's what we're talking about tonight on Cult Film and Review. So let's just start the show.
So dumb, but
Your Hollywood system stole our sex and co-opted our violence, so there's nothing left for our kinds of movies.
I did not hit her. It's not true.
Klopex? Klopex. Klopex.
Up yours, baby.
Me and Bubba, my little brother, listen to you every night.
where in the hell are we?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
All right, guys, so we're here to talk about Maximum Overdrive. I got the same crew with me as always. I got Chris, I got Mike, and I got Kyle.
Yo.
And we are going to talk about the 1986 film that Stephen King wrote and directed himself.
Good for him.
I think it's the only one he's ever done.
Yes.
himself.
Also good
First
for
and
him.
Last, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean-
Maximum Overdrive. I'm pretty sure it's his last.
Probably.
Do you think it was just to get it out of his system? Because why didn't he?
What do you
We'll
mean?
get to that. We'll get to
Like,
that.
get it out of
We'll
his-
figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll dig deep.
Well,
We'll
let's
dig
start the show
deep.
the way we always do. Cody, it's your pick. Since you're the guest, you can't really ask yourself, so I'm going to ask for you. Why did you pick this movie?
Okay, so
Why did you subject us to this movie?
no, so like how you have Uncle Ken tapes because you didn't have cable and this is how you discovered movies. I was going to ask you if you ever came across this at Uncle Ken's tapes.
No.
Because this is a TBS for me. I remember seeing this like on TBS or USA at one point as a child and being like, this is the craziest movie I've ever seen. Like, these trucks are driving themselves. You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't really know if this is a cult film or not. So that's kind of one of the discussions I want to have. And because of just the backstory of it a little bit with Stephen King directing himself and all that stuff. So I kind of want to talk about that.
Okay.
So that was part of it too. And I would just remember really, really liking this movie as a kid. So now I wanted to go back and revisit it as an adult. And we'll talk about that as we go on.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
I don't want to give my rating away.
So what's the synopsis? What is this movie?
This movie is what exactly?
Yeah. What is it?
So what it is it's based off a short story called Trucks that he did in Night Shift, I think 1.
Yeah, 1973 is when he first published it. It was in a magazine and eventually got into that short story compilation. Yeah. But yeah.
There's some gems in that one, isn't there?
Yeah, this is when no one knew his name.
Yeah.
So we held on to this for a while.
Yeah, and then he decided let's make it into I think it was supposed to be like a horror comedy.
Kind of.
Yeah. And then but anyways, basically what it's about is it's about Emilio Estevez, Bill, as basically a person like on parole working for a real asshole in a gas station when a comet passes Earth, leaving Earth in its tail.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
For 8 days, which causes machines basically to come alive and start killing people.
Yeah.
And this starts happening at the gas station with a whole bunch of truckers and stuff like that, and then they get caught in the gas station by vehicles, and then they plan their escape, and they try to make their escape and make their escape.
And make their escape.
Survive really is what it's more about.
Survival is what it's about. Thank you, Chris, breaking it down.
Just
It's about young love surviving through.
It's about instincts.
Catastrophe.
Yeah, the worst. No, this movie is not about young love.
Thank Christ.
I can actually say
Every
Sure?
damn show.
But are we sure?
Well, they
there's
try.
moments.
No, they try to make that connection with it. Like even so, I got to say that they try to make connections with that with Emilio Estevez and who played Brett.
Laura Harrington.
Yeah,
Herring.
Yeah.
What is it?
Harrington.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they try to make a love story between those two, but it happens so instantaneously and like there's no chemistry. It's very awkward.
It's basically like, yo, there's trucks outside. We might die. You won't fuck? Yeah, okay. That's it.
That's it.
I don't know.
Really how it
I think
happened.
there was a little more than that. They kind of tried to show that each character was sort of like able to take charge of a situation. Like her coming in with like the Bible thumper salesman, like kind of like fighting him off and, you know, basically being like, fuck you. And then him kind of rebelling like against his boss and his job. You know what I mean? So you kind of set up these two characters that eventually like come together.
Wow.
Is this really happening?
Oh, apparently we're getting a call.
Do we have a guest on the show tonight
Hey,
that I don't know about?
Pay your fucking bills.
Podcast goes down immediately.
Yeah.
So, anyways, no. One of the things I wanted to ask too is, has anyone does anyone read Stephen King?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's one of the first books I read.
Okay, so this is kind of like this is also why I have like there's a little bit of love for me in this movie, right? So Stephen King has wrote my favorite book, but he's also written some of the worst books I've ever fucking read. He's
Like what?
He's like Cujo's fucking terrible.
The book is horrible?
Horrible.
I never read Cujo.
Is it as boring
God.
as the movie?
It's way more boring than the movie.
I hate to say it, but yeah, while we're on that, I recently watched Cujo and thought it was the most boring movie in the whole world.
I always thought the movie was not good.
The book is right. The book is right there with it.
My problem with Stephen King is that, like, and it's funny because this occurred to me while I was watching this movie, because it was like, wow, this just feels like Stephen King. He has the same characters, he has the same backstories, he has the same situations, the same personal conflicts that are happening in all of his books, and they basically totally came out on screen. Whereas like other movies that have been done of his books, they have other directors involved and they've kind of tweaked stories and changed character development in some way. But this just felt like his book on screen, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing, but I don't think it was a good thing either. I don't like his character, Emilio's character, because he just feels like every other lead male in any Stephen King book.
But 3 feet tall.
Yeah.
With boots on.
I don't know. I feel like most Stephen King's male leads are short.
Anyways,
I don't know why.
I really got a Shining vibe out of this too, Kyle.
I got a little Shining. There's a little of a mist in here. There's a little of his book Sal.
I really felt like there was a little bit of mist in this, though.
Yeah.
Like people just locked up in a place, and there's just this danger outside, but really
the danger's
it doesn't
inside.
do it as much.
Yeah.
But the danger's really
inside.
inside.
But this film doesn't really do
Yeah,
that.
it's the same. It's the same characters over and over.
Okay, so anyways, what it is, I'll tell you what it is too. It's Night of the Living Dead, but with trucks instead of zombies.
This is that's one of his favorite films.
I could definitely see that.
No, that's what it is.
It essentially is. Yeah.
That's essentially what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I think it's like what I was going to refer to is like it's like, and you hit it the nail on the head. It's a bad Stephen King book. Now the question is,
perfectly translated to film.
Has anyone read the short story?
No, I'm not saying the short story can be great. What I'm
okay.
saying is like you read a bad Stephen King book and it plays out exactly like this movie. He's 100% correct.
I gotcha.
Like it's all over the place. You're like, what the fuck? But now, does it translate better? Is it more entertaining on film and translate better as a jumbled gem? I guess is my question.
It depends on who's directing it and who's writing it. I mean,
Well,
honestly, because
that's
what I'm saying. Like so in answer to that question in regards to this film, no. But like when you look at anything that Frank Darabont did for him, like
Gold.
Those are fucking fantastic
Gold.
because he tweaked and changed the story and he basically took what was good and got rid of the extra noise.
So I guess let me ask the question: Is this a cult film?
I think it kind of is, actually.
Yeah, I think
so.
I think that truck alone makes it a cult icon.
Which pisses me off that you brought that up, because you would think that would be the truck that would be on the box art of this film, but it's not. And
Well, no, because it's a Marvel character.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's the
okay.
Green Goblin.
See, I didn't know that.
It's actually on the back of the movie.
Okay.
It's a screenshot, so you don't have to pay as much for that.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's stupid, man. That is like the staple of this film.
Yeah.
Like, how were they allowed to use it in the film but not on the cover?
Who knows?
Times were different.
I guess so.
Anybody like Stephen King's cameo in the beginning?
Oh, I love it.
It's
This machine called me an asshole.
It's meant to really. I know what he was trying to do with it. He meant to do that to like kind of establish like the whole running idea of what the film was going to be about. He kind of does like an M. Night Shyamalan thing with like Lady in the Water.
I never saw that piece of shit, so.
Like he kind of like
explain,
injects
please?
himself into the movie, but he's also kind of like the representation kind of like everything that's going on with it. Like he establishes himself as, okay, it's me versus this machine, and this machine is calling me an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to have a conflict, you and me. And that's essentially what happened. At the end, it's like they appease the trucks, like trying to give them gasoline, and they're like, fuck you, and then they blow them up. That's where this film just gets jumbled up, really.
Okay.
Because that message gets lost as far as I'm concerned.
Like most Stephen King books, the message gets lost at the end.
You brought up no, he does not know how to end a story.
Nope.
Well, he's made a damn good career out of it.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Are you kidding me?
I mean...
Read the
it
original
almost
Mist
sounds like
ending.
we're all talking shit about Stephen King. But I'm going to tell you right now.
Carrie is my favorite book of all time.
Okay.
I love it. It's fantastic.
Okay.
His book that he did 4 or 5 years ago called Cell, which was probably one of the best takes on some kind of a zombie thing that I've ever read. It's fantastic, and he's got a whole other mess like the whole Tower series he did. That shit's good, but
Cell had a terrible ending.
What?
Cell did. I thought Cell had a terrible ending.
Really?
Yeah.
I liked it.
I didn't like it.
Oh. Well,
but we're talking about
Which
Maximum
Cell are we talking
Overdrive.
about?
Cell.
He
It's
wrote a
Cell.
book called
You never
Cell.
read that book?
I think you guys were talking about the movie, The Cell.
Yeah.
I'm like,
No.
he wasn't
There was
involved with
there was
that.
no the. There was just Cell.
But okay, so kind of going back to what I was saying though, is I think a bad Stephen King book translates so much better on film.
I am inclined to agree with you.
Than it does in a book.
I haven't read this book, but
I don't
whatever
think
the
the book's
book
bad.
was that turned
It's a
into
short
this,
story.
I think was pretty entertaining.
I really don't think that any of this has anything to do with anything. I think this is just has to do with the fact that they took a guy who they thought was a genius, and he is a writing genius,
Yeah.
and said that'll translate into directing, right? And it didn't.
And it did.
It did not.
Turned right into gold.
So you're saying you like this movie? I thought
don't
you were
know.
saying you were shitting on it 15 seconds ago, and now all of a sudden you're
That's
saying,
where I'm at with this film, and we're gonna get
Okay.
more into that right after this break.
Steve Gayton, Mr. Hendershot. Duncan Keller's had an accident.
Oh, shit, Ski. What happened to him?
He got diesel in his eyes. I'll be damned if I know how.
Is that all? Flush his eyes. Leave me alone. I got me some talking to do in here. I gotta wipe everybody's ass around here. Shitty job, but I reckon somebody's gotta do it. Ain't that right, Bubba?
No, let me get this straight now. Now, you want me to work for 9 hours and only clock in for 8?
Now I know you've been to college, boy.
So Stephen King was the director of this movie, and I don't. How did this movie get made? Anyone know?
yes, I do know how this movie was made. So Dino De Laurentiis, we know him from, he did
90210.
No, Danger Diabolic. He's a famous Italian director. He was a super director in Italy, or super producer, I'm sorry, of films in Italy. He has hundreds of credits.
I
like that. I like that title, super.
No, because I'm gonna
Super producer, I meant to
super
say.
producer.
But yeah.
I'm gonna sound stupid asking this. Is there a difference
What do you mean?
between a producer and a super producer?
No,
Like-
I'm just using that word because.
Oh, okay, because I didn't know if it was
well,
like an official term. Did that
No,
not?
no,
He did
I'm
do
just saying he's a producer
more
that
than
is-
the average
This guy-
producer, I would
Like
say.
that's what read on his door.
This guy basically.
Super producer.
If you want to know the history, this guy basically did hundreds of films in Italy, became the most well-known producer.
Gotcha.
And basically, he was like, "I'm moving to America now."
He's like a household
Take all my
name
money.
there.
And this is actually one of his first films that he did in the United States. But I think it's his first film. He acquired a company called Embassy Pictures here, and he had just married his. Well, he passed away, but his last wife, which was Martha De Laurentiis, right?
Yeah.
And he came up with this idea where he wanted her to be kind of involved in his production movie business.
Right. Always a good idea.
Right. Movie. It worked out because she's still doing it. She basically owns Hannibal Lecter's name. She did Hannibal. She produced that whole entire TV show. Like, well,
Good for her.
that's something he knows. But anyway,
she produced that.
yeah.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah,
That's a fantastic.
She's taken
show.
over his entire empire after he passed away in I think 2009 or something. Anyways, regardless, so he decides, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to introduce her into this movie making process, but I want it to be like kind of like a no-fail thing. So I'm going to acquire some of the stories of what I know as the greatest American novelist at the time, which is Stephen King. So he buys The Dead Zone, Firestarter, Cat's Eye, and Silver Bullet. He makes all those films.
Oh, he
before
made all those.
Yeah.
Oh,
he
wow.
produced all those films.
Firestarter was damn good.
Yeah.
What happened here?
This is the
Oh,
this,
God.
this
We'll
is the
get into
last
that.
film he made.
There's
This is
a
the last
lot.
film he had.
There's a lot that happened here.
So, anyways, he had made all these films, and then Stephen King, he was friends. Like, Stephen King loved Dino De Laurentiis, and they both loved each other because Dino De Laurentiis just loved storytellers. Yeah. And they got to talking, and then Stephen King was like, yo, I was thinking about directing this one. And Dino De Laurentiis just looked at him, he's like, all right, like, go for it. Like, didn't even think a second of it. Like, yeah, I'll just surround him with all of these great... Because the way he worked was he would just go to other countries and get the best guy from a different country and then get him for like a kind of like a rock bottom kind of price.
Okay.
Like he would like, I'm going to get the greatest cinematographer that I know in Italy. Call him up, send him out here. Like he'll work for less than the top guy in America, you know? Mm-hmm. So that's exactly what he did.
Let's get the best sound guy from Kenya.
No, he did this. He would pull guys from different countries and just pull them in here.
Might have happened, Cody.
Yeah. You don't know.
He did a lot of movies.
You don't know. Who's a great
you gotta know a lot of people.
Costume designer? Do we know anyone in Guam?
Stupid. Shut up.
So anyways, he hires Stephen King to do this, to direct this film, and Stephen King has admitted that he was coked out of his mind when he made this film.
Wait, he hires him or he gives Stephen King money to make this film?
Well, he gives Stephen King money to make the film, but Dino De Laurentiis was pretty much like, he had his hands all over this thing.
Okay.
He basically hired a bunch of people around Stephen King to keep him in line.
Right.
Namely his DP.
Like, you can't fuck it up that bad.
Who he ends up taking out his eye.
Yeah.
That guy ends up losing his eye.
Who?
The DP.
The DP.
Oh, shit.
And ends up suing them.
So the DP was kind of in charge of keeping Stephen King in line because they knew that Stephen King was kind of out of his mind a little bit, and he knew he wasn't really good at... They didn't know he wasn't a tested director.
Yeah.
So they hired this guy. The only problem is the DP was from Italy. He didn't speak any English. So they barely could communicate.
Uh-huh.
This plan is just falling apart.
Well, good for the DP because I think he did a great job.
Well, he did a good job until he lost his eye. And the way that happened was they were doing it's a lawnmower scene, right?
The perspective was all off after he lost his eye.
They were doing a close-up shot of this lawnmower. Right?
Yeah.
And the DP's like, yo, we got to take the blades out of this thing. And Stephen King is like, being the horror guy that he is like, no, blades are scary. Keep the blades in there.
Don't even see the blades.
Right. And he's just like, we don't see. That's exactly what he said. We don't even see the blades. He's like, no, we have them in there. So anyways, everything on the set was remote control, right? The cars, the trucks, everything was. So this thing wouldn't start. So they do it one time, they do it a second time, they do it a third time, and this thing starts coming at the camera, gets stuck on this wooden plank that they had the camera propped up on. It's split in half, flew right into this guy's eye.
Jesus.
There was blood everywhere. They take him to the hospital, and surprisingly enough, after 2 days, he comes back to finish the film, thinking that his eye was going to heal. It never does. He looks like a pirate for the rest of his career. And he actually lost a ton of work because, I mean, there was nothing more fitting. Yeah, I mean, other than a surgeon losing his hands, a cinematographer losing his eye is like this weird poetic thing. But I don't think no one wanted to hire him for a while.
That's kind of bullshit, though, because
he sued him for $18 million.
Yeah, good for him. Because I don't think that should cut you out of work because your eye is what you're seeing. I know your brain is interpreting.
Well,
what
they were worried about. I guess the argument was that his depth perception would be off.
Yeah,
and they thought that maybe it wasn't gonna. But he went on and he did get work.
Okay,
he continued to do
and
stuff.
$18 million.
Well, they settled out of court, but
okay,
yeah.
That Stephen King was probably having an orgasm at that moment. He's probably like, "Yeah, the real horror."
He
was.
He was
really
coked out.
Apparently,
according to him, he was coked out of his mind.
Yes.
And at least one other person on the set said he would start the day with 3 beers and end with 10.
Party animal, dude.
Yeah, he was nuts.
He was in maximum overdrive the whole time.
That's how you shoot a movie.
That's how you. I want to shoot a movie like that,
right? And get this good of a movie out of it. It's a miracle this thing got made.
Yeah, no shit. Like cocaine is not like I don't feel like you get more creative with cocaine.
Really? I think they got creative.
I feel like you start
making
you start making quick decisions that aren't good.
It worked for Wall Street. You want that quick.
Yeah.
Don't think about the consequences. Just go. Yeah. Buy, sell.
So, what did you guys think about the soundtrack?
AC/DC?
I mean, do you like AC/DC?
Yeah, that's pretty much the only
then
question.
The answer is yes, then, I guess.
I like the fact that, like, I think it was like the opening scene, like the AC/DC van gets like all smashed up.
Dude, that opening scene's pretty badass.
It's awesome.
It is.
It's pretty.
And
good.
then the whole
lady
soundtrack
flies
is
through
AC/DC.
that lady flying through the window of the car.
Oh, look good.
It was so
is on par with the Werewolf in London.
That opening scene was so ridiculous.
I
I'm
loved
sorry.
it.
It's just so over the top and stupid. Just what else could they throw at it? Which is exactly, I think, exactly what I said about that last scene, American Werewolf. Like it's just throwing more and more bullshit at you as quickly as possible.
You know what I thought though? I was
like the whole watermelon thing.
Did this inspire Final Destination in some way?
Maybe.
Why?
It could have.
I definitely got a Final Destination vibe when I saw some of these scenes playing out.
Well, that's another like weird thing. Does it? I almost feel like they shot this movie in fucking order.
Like, you think they went chronologically?
Yes.
I mean, it's possible.
I almost feel that way, and the reason I say that is because, like, the rules of the machines that get like possessed, we'll say, gets looser and looser and looser and looser.
Yeah,
as the film goes on.
I couldn't figure out. I'll accept the fact that a comet passed by, and in its tail there was some kind of radiation thing. That's fine and well, and these machines are kind of coming to life. Why do they have an agenda? Like, that's the whole thing. Like, why would they have an agenda?
That's explained at the end.
Explain it.
Oh, explain at the very end. The last fucking scene you see, it explains why it has it. Like, in text, mind you. So it's almost as if they added it after the fact when they realized this makes no fucking sense.
I think this goes to your argument, Cody, that
true.
maybe they did this linearly. Because it's like, maybe they got through the film, they were like, wait, why did we do all this shit?
Why are the trucks specifically targeting humans?
I wrote it on page 56, I think.
He doesn't know how to end a story. This is what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
He did the same thing with The Mist.
It's a fucking prologue at
Well,
the
what
end
do
of
you
the
mean?
movie that explains like,
he didn't do
this
anything
is why
with
you're
The
supposed to believe everything you just saw. Like, fuck you.
No, he did the same thing with The Mist. If you read the Mist short story.
Oh, you mean the original?
Yeah, if
Gotcha.
you read the Mist short story, it ends so terribly. And then Frank Darabont came and just was like, here you go, poop, magic ending.
I think that is the secret to great Stephen King. Not all of his great films are done by people that aren't horror directors. That's a weird thing. Like The Shining is a great. Well, John Carpenter did Christine.
Not all of his great films are horror films, really.
No, they're not. But I mean, The Mist is to some extent.
I have a question about the agenda thing you were just discussing.
Yeah.
So we're assuming that the vehicles or the machinery does have an agenda.
They do.
Okay, what is it?
It's to thin out the herd for the aliens to come and basically take
Okay,
over.
so
there's aliens.
Yeah, they made
it's at the end. Did you get that?
Okay.
So why?
Emilio talks about it in halfway through the film.
Here's
that
my
makes so much
question.
more sense. No, it doesn't.
These trucks are
Called
just
subtleties.
like running shit
No.
down. They're like, going down ditches after people, like all this stuff.
Yeah.
Why do they not just bulldoze the fucking building?
No,
from the get-go.
Because they need them for fuel.
But see, that's the thing.
That was
doesn't
like
make any
later
sense to me
on.
either.
That was like later on. That they're
Yeah,
like,
they
we
already-
need fuel all of a sudden.
They're like, let's
Beep,
corral
beep,
these
beep, beep.
people in here because we might
one's
need
brought
them
this up
later.
yet.
Like this story's getting stupider as we talk about it.
It keeps on going. No, but I'm going to even add to it because it keeps on going. How come cars aren't affected?
Or was this truck?
Wait.
It's everything else but cars. Everything. Lawnmowers.
Well, it's 'cause they don't-
Soda machines.
Obviously, because they don't run on diesel.
Yeah. I
Soda
don't know.
machines don't run on diesel.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, maybe not nowadays, but in the
machines don't
80s,
either.
let me tell you. Speaking of soda machines, best death in the movie right there.
That was a really cool
The
scene.
fucking soda little wound on
yeah.
his head. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just
don't
loved how it was like.
understand-
Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go on.
I just love how it's firing off at the kids and they're like running and tumbling.
Yeah, they get just knocked down by it.
That's one of my favorite. That's one. So this thing does have gems of scenes.
It does, yeah.
That's pretty.
Any
badass.
scene that's not at the gas station is gems of scenes.
Which
Oh, no,
that's
there's-
like 3/4 of the film. Just very rarely anything that's not at that gas station.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think it was split up pretty nicely.
What do you mean?
Between the
No.
kid's story, the couple's story, getting to the gas station,
No, I
what's going on
understand
at the
that.
gas
But I mean,
station.
the real meat of the story is going on in the gas station.
Yeah.
But the problem with it, and this is where it differs from The Mist, so much of The Mist is all about the interactions of the people within that building, and this they just kind of glance over it like a little bit, like.
Yeah.
That's the problem with this movie. Like that's why I want to play the remake game at the end of this episode is because
Fuck.
this movie has so much effing potential if they would have put kind of rules to the universe, and you had 900 people in that thing to kill, and you kill 3.
What do you mean? What thing?
in the gas station. You had there's 12 survivors, guys.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
There's 24 people in that thing. No, 3 people literally die. I think it's 3 or 4. There's really not that many people.
Well, that's not true. There's more
a lot
than that.
more. There's a lot more opportunities for kills. They could have got way more creative with the kills because of how loose the rules were being. Which is surprising because it's okay, you should be the most creative guy with kills because you're Stephen King.
Yeah,
it's
but
you went pretty soft, and I'm not saying that.
No, I agree.
For as little kills as there were of human beings, there was a lot of explosions and cars flipping and things like that going on, that I feel made up for that.
Maybe they took some of the special effects budget and they just put it more into explosions. Since it is
stunts, man.
It is a car. It is a car movie essentially.
Yeah,
Stephen King.
I mean, think about Christine. I mean, think about the deaths in Christine. They're all the fucking same.
And I was satisfied. with when the machine gun was blasting off and just annihilating people. I was like, that looks pretty good.
That
some
mind you,
squids
made absolutely no goddamn sense whatsoever.
It was
But
just
that's
another.
okay.
That's what I'm saying. That's
another
how
element
the
to throw in
rules
there.
got.
Sure.
But no, because I especially saw in the when they're actually pumping the gas and all that stuff. There's so much potential in those scenes and just of the communication between them and the machines and stuff like that. You actually see it's oddly enough the trucks have more character than the real people.
Bit.
And I don't know if that was. I don't feel like that was done on purpose, but it should have been.
Maybe. I have a question. In terms of motivation, why the hell did they feed the trucks the gasoline?
Because they were going to get shot otherwise.
But
with the 50 cal.
that goes completely out the window later on. They're just let's take.
But
they feed
it didn't kill that many people when the machine gun was going
Yeah,
off.
it did.
It was 4 or 5 people.
Okay, you know
only
what?
because a waitress
Hold on a
walked
second.
out.
Hold on, they had enough guns to completely arm an entire army in the basement.
Yeah, bazookas.
Why are they like, oh no, there's a machine gun now?
Love
here.
that, by the way.
Let's just fucking blow it up. We have grenades and everything. I agree with you, Mike. There's no reason
It
for them to
just
fill
made
the
no
trucks.
sense for them to appease these trucks, and then all to what end? Until they ran out of gasoline, and they realized oh no,
They
we gotta
didn't
get
know.
more. And then they go to kind of get more, and then they say, you know what, we should just try to blow them up now. Let's just blow them up now.
That's the great Emilio. The worst acting in the movie is Emilio when he's pumping the gas and he's just so tired.
Yeah,
putting the gas in the big hose into the ground. He's so tired. He can barely do it.
I don't
that's how he's acting in the movie too. He's like, ugh. I got it.
Even that
this film comes right after Repo Man. I think he did Repo Man right during this or something.
1986, I think,
Yeah,
was Repo Man.
because
also.
from what I've read, the way they even got Emilio Estevez was because Martin Sheen was in. He was in. I think Silver Bullet. What was it? No, Dead Zone. He was in Dead Zone. So they knew him. They're like, yo, you think your son wants to do this? He's in a hot movie right now. And he's like, yeah, he'll do it.
Awesome.
But he's horrible in this, and he's so good in Repo Man.
Yeah, he's really bad in this.
I'm so glad this is coming up because I was gonna bring this up that anybody here who liked this movie but didn't like Repo Man is crazy. Because
don't worry, I'm envisioning similar ratings from me.
Okay, I'm getting that vibe. I'm getting that vibe for sure, and it's all making sense now.
The saving.
Maybe I just truly hate Emilio. That's what it comes down to.
That's the problem. He'll never win with you.
The saving actor in this movie, to me, is Pat Hingle, who plays Bubba.
Oh yeah, he's great.
The boss.
Yeah,
Holy crap,
I love
dude!
him.
Is he fantastic?
No,
and he has the most conflict with people.
I like
he has
him.
the most. I feel not character development, but he's definitely the bad guy actually in the film.
I feel like he always kind of plays that same character.
Yeah,
though.
but he does it really
he's
well.
Great. He's great. Yeah, his presence on screen. And who doesn't want to? I mean, this is why I love Terminator 2 because of the hidden underground gun layer. This one has one too, and I was very happy to see that. I was like, "Oh yeah, dude, Arsenal down in the basement."
God, I can't wait to get a new house and have
that recreate
just full of airsoft guns.
Did you just recreate the cellar of Maximum Overdrive?
Dude, how'd you know?
Dude, if you go out back, I got the cellar from T2 down there too.
Yep.
It's got a little
there are adjoining doors, but I want you to enter them like you do in the movies.
You have to pull that giant board
I'm
out
really
of the way.
big into cellar recreation.
Cellar artillery.
You're like this old house, but for cellars.
It's like cosplay,
and
but
arsenals.
for cellars.
My next one I'm doing is the lotion on the skin.
I'm going to the Panic Room for the movie Panic Room next.
Really try to capture that sense of fear.
A sense of isolation.
I'll tell you who saved this film for me is Yeardley Smith.
Oh, why is she not in the movie more?
Why isn't she? I think that
because
she
was a nobody.
She's
when
got
she
a
did
great
this.
voice. Is that just me?
Well, what's strange about this? Because okay, so there's a line that Brett says in this.
Yeah.
She says, "Eat my shorts," and I'm like, "Oh, from The Simpsons."
Yeah.
And then a year from this, that's when Yardley Swift becomes Lisa.
Yeah.
Like this was before The Simpsons, so like it leads me to believe that like she's
Stephen King wrote for The Simpsons.
Yeah.
or maybe like she was just like maybe somebody was like, "Yo, what do you think Bart's like voice should be?" And she was just like, "Look, I was on this movie. I didn't really like it, but
you should say eat my shorts."
Or, here's the question: was "eat my shorts" a popular saying at this time?
It was very popular.
I mean, I was too young to
I'm
remember.
more inclined to lean towards that. It was like some slang that was
very young.
Coming back.
Yeah,
that joke's coming back.
I got Benjamin Button thing. I go backwards. I had Alzheimer's during this time. So now I'm 50.
Okay.
I'm moving to 30.
Oh.
She's great, but you got to realize like she disappears in the middle of the film.
And she certainly does.
She's like in the beginning with her part when her part kind of kicks in.
Yeah.
And then like they end up at the gas station, and then Curtis kind of goes on adventures with
Emilio,
and they don't really. She doesn't really pop back up until she's climbing into the fucking sewer to escape.
And can I just say something? I want to say something too. Missed opportunity with Curtis not dying.
Why?
I just kind of felt like
that's why it needs a remake. I'm telling you.
That could have brought so much to the story.
Yeah.
If this hero this guy that's consistently trying to be this nice guy, this hero, and all these tough guys are in the room and they won't fucking do anything. If this guy doesn't end up dying in some way, it kind of like
that's basically what
drama
ended up
to this.
happening in The Mist. That whole scene, like that whole scene in the beginning when they're like they get the kid, the young skinny kid to like go outside and like fix the generator or whatever, and it's like all these grown men won't go do it. They're too fucking scared.
He's trigger shy.
That's exactly what would have happened. It would have been a better film.
Yeah.
There needed more. There needed more. This movie needed a little bit more humanity, a little more conflict.
I think you got that though through the kid when he finds out that his dad died.
Yeah. Dude,
that's
where
scene
that
comes
and
from.
goes
It
like
does.
that. It's a fucking blink.
He does. Well,
where's my dad? He died.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
you're
gotta
real
focus-
nice. And then all right, moving on.
Yeah.
New subject.
They go right past that.
Yeah, they totally
'cause,
breeze past that.
You know, it was he's kind of like the Michael Bay of authors who get to make their own movies.
What does that even mean?
Because he goes for like it's weird. It's like
What?
It's weird because he goes for the explosions. Think about it. Like
No, I understand what you mean by that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he goes for the explosions. Like lets the character suffer and goes for the action. Goes for the horror and the action.
I feel like
Just
that.
so weird. It's just so.
As a
Is it
writer, it's
weird
very
to me
weird
as
that
a
he would
writer
do
that
that.
he would do that.
Yeah.
He kind of like
No, I don't think it's
he
weird.
focuses on spectacle over like content.
I take that
That's
back.
what I feel like this
I don't
film
think
is
it's
about.
weird for you to feel that way. That's what I meant.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, I do think it's weird for him to do that because, yeah, why would you take your own source material that you fucking slaved over and poured everything into writing, and then when you get a chance to make it, like, oh, you know what, my story was missing? More bullshit.
Because maybe he didn't slave himself over it. Maybe he was like.
I feel like everything
maybe
somebody
he
writes is
maybe because you pour yourself so much into your writing and your that aspect of your creativity that when you get a chance to do a movie, you're like, I just want to blow shit up.
Well, also
like
keep
I
in
want to
mind-
make a cool
Let's
movie.
also keep in mind that he wrote this short story like well over a decade before he even made this film. So who knows how connected he was still to it?
Yeah.
Well, that's
You
the
know?
thing too. Is like I think he did make it a fun movie, though. I think that's what you get as the byproduct out of it, because by focusing on like the kills, and at least I want to say the kills he cares about. By focusing on the kills, because there's some that are just so bullshit.
Yeah.
And focusing on the action, I think you get. That's what kind of is the saving grace of this movie. It's like, cool, you can like. I just want to focus on the trucks killing people. Like, fuck it, I'm on board because that's what you're focusing on. Like, that's what I got.
I'd be
It's like,
curious to read
fuck
the
these
original
characters.
short story and see how much is different from this.
Yeah.
Well, because I feel like the trucks, like I said before, are like a characters within themselves, and those are one of the like. I don't want to say I care about the trucks more, but I cared about what the trucks kind of destruction they were going to bring and how they were going to kill people more. Like that's what I cared about, and I think he knew that in a way. He just didn't know maybe how to translate that the most successful way.
Did
that
he
could.
write the screenplay?
I'm pretty sure.
He adapted the screenplay. He wrote the short story, adapted it to the screen, and then directed it.
Because if you
I feel like that might have been the point of fuck up on his part. Like he should have had somebody do a first draft of the screenplay, like with their own perspective, like on how his story is written, and then he could have like polished that up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
I mean, it's possible. Yeah, I mean, it could.
I feel like it would have been a better film if he had done that.
Another reason I think this film was shot in order.
I don't think it was shot in order because the only thing I'm going to disagree with you is the whole last half of the film doesn't look all out of perspective, and the guy didn't have an eye at that point. So,
the whole end of the film is models.
What do you mean?
The explosion of the gas station and all that stuff, it's all models.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because it did look kind of unnatural.
Yeah, it's very unnatural. Look at it. It's all models.
But it looked cool. I think that even for it being models, it had a pretty... I mean, I was into it. And it looked cool.
And here's the thing, too. I was thinking
why would that make you think
No,
it was
that's
shot
not...
in order?
I was trying to make my point, but then you called me out on that, so I had to prove that. No, because the reason I think they shot it in order is because if you take a look at the kills, too... The kills are way more creative in the beginning, and I feel like way more energetic. And then as you get to the end of the film, the kills get less, and they get less energetic, and they get kind of weaker, right? Because the opening of the film, you get like the fucking soda machine that like kills the coach. Then the kid gets ran over by the steamroller.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I forgot they did that.
Yeah, the lawnmower, and then that's when you first see the ice cream truck, where it's like, oh, you knew that thing lured some kids out and ran it over. Like you knew it did. You know what I mean? Definitely has like a darker feel in the beginning of the film, and then as it goes on, you get like the lame kill on the Bible salesman who just gets
they
thrown into a ditch,
showing a lot less too. Like they cut away from a lot of stuff.
They had actually planned it. There's actually they never made it, but they had planned an extra scene where the final battle was supposed to be between them and a boat with the machine gun propped up on this boat, and the boat was it was under control. Yeah, and they had to take out this boat. That was supposed to be like the final scene.
Thank God
but they took it out for whatever reason. I don't know if budget reasons or whatever. Yeah.
But like that, you know what I mean? It's like I saw so much creativity in the very beginning of the film with the lawnmower coming alive and chasing after him.
I see where you're coming from on that, but I wonder if some of the reason why there's more creativity in the beginning versus the end of the film, it has more to do with like the writing of it in general. I think like the front end of the film is more interesting and there's more dread and terror because there's not a lot of explanation as to why anything's happening, so it's more of a mystery. But when you start, I mean, this is the same, this I'm going to bring up a point. This is the same thing I hate about most haunted house films or anything like that. And I think I've said this on the show before, is that as soon as you identify that the bad guy or the entity or something has some kind of agenda, you give it give him human characteristics. He's no longer as scary, as he once was. And that's what happened. Is that Green Goblin truck suddenly is like, oh, he's obviously the ringleader. Oh, they need gas, so like now they're portraying almost a weakness to these creatures and it's just not as impactful anymore.
I think it has more to do with that they wanted to move away from like the creative kills of the people once again onto more of the stunts and action. Like I think they split it up. I think it was like the beginning you got your horror like killer, cars like people laying dead in the streets and in their front yards and shit like that. And then all of a sudden like towards the end they're like, now we got to blow some cars up and some buildings.
You know what? This just sparked some kind of again. I haven't read the short story, but part of me is now wondering at what point in the film does the short story end and does the script that he wrote continue? You know what I mean? Like I feel like the reason the front half of the film is more terrifying and more interesting is because that might be more closer to the original short story, and the back half with the people stuck inside is stuff that he created for the film because it is a short story. So you can't.
Funny that we're doing this because I remember when we did Return Oswald's shat on me.
For what?
Talking about the book, but now we wish we had listened to the story.
No, I'm not talking about. You were talking about the book because you read the book, and you're like, "Well,
but
this is how the book
it
goes."
Been nice to have
I haven't read the
story.
book, so I'm just making an assumption here. But it's making me start to think about. That's why the front half seems so much more interesting and so much more terrifying, is because it was already a book that he worked on over time and polished. Whereas, like this script could have been like. Something can I not finish my statement, Chris?
Go ahead. We're just deciding who's going next.
Yeah, you can both go at the same time.
How's that gonna work?
I'll just mute you both, and me and Mike will have a nice pleasant conversation.
I'd like to hear what Chris has to add.
What if you found out that the back half was actually the story and the front half was added?
Well, it will just cement the fact that I think Stephen King is an okay writer. Either way, I'm winning, Chris, in this. So,
in a way,
I'm right.
Do you think that? Okay, so this is here's where I'm at with it.
Do it.
I think I've figured it out, though. I'm glad you gave that really long explanation when I figured it out. I think it has to do with two things. I'm breaking this down. Two things. First thing is setting, right?
Okay.
When you trap people in a singular setting like they did for the majority of the movie, you better have a pretty good talky film with some character development and stuff like that, like Night of the Living Dead, for example, because that's going to be your driving force of the film, right? Whereas in the setting of the beginning of the film is wide open, man. It's a kid, and like anything can come out of anywhere. You know what I mean? This when they're trapped in a central location, you know where the threat is.
So that's the weakest point.
No, I'm saying where what happened is he was coked out of his mind and kind of forgot to focus on the character part when he was in there. Was just like, let's blow shit up. Let's blow it the fuck up.
Interesting thing that you mentioned this because the story after this film was wrapped apparently was that Stephen King took the entire cast to a theater. He bought out a theater and he watched his two favorite movies and did commentary for both of them. And the two favorite movies he had was Godzilla and Night of the Living Dead.
Okay.
So I kind of feel like this film, maybe he was trying to capture both those things, like the big destruction that was Godzilla, and then like let's put everybody in a room
Get the
and
monsters,
do the Night of the Living Dead
monsters
thing.
are the ones trapped inside.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know what? They made a film and it was called Cloverfield. And they already did that.
No,
that would be later perfected.
The monster
to
was
some
inside though. Bubba
Well,
was the monster
that's all
inside.
Stephen King's. That's a running theme of Stephen King. The monsters are the humans. The monsters outside are just they're what they are.
Someone in
But
the
the true
mist.
monsters are always inside. They're the humans around you.
All right, so
He always describes that the neighbor next door or something. He has some kind of weird obsession with the person next door is more of a monster than the person. Some creature you could ever invent. You know.
let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll get your final thoughts on the movie. Then we'll rate this, and then we'll remake it.
Okay. Good luck.
Sorry, guys. It's fun while it lasted, but we're all out.
So does anyone have any final thoughts? Maybe something we didn't talk about that they want to hit on the film at all? Anyone? Bueller?
I thought the dialogue was hilarious, and it made me want to go back and watch it to pick up on the dialogue more because like they had some pretty funny one-liners.
Yeah. Bubba, he had the one-liners. I actually, I don't think I really like the kills. I have to say my favorite death. I don't know because if we said favorite deaths,
I said mine was a soda machine.
Soda machine.
Yeah, that's what he said.
What are you?
I don't know yet. I don't know.
You don't know?
Not really.
It's a great podcast right
Sorry, I
here.
hadn't thought of it until you just said it right now. Hadn't thought about it.
What your favorite kill would be?
Yeah, I don't know.
Kyle?
Soda machine.
Soda machine?
Yeah, and I'll say it again if you'd like.
No, wait, I know what it is.
Kill time.
My favorite scene is
I can keep saying
is
it.
the waitress coming out and being like, "We made
Yes!
you!" And then she
Oh
gets
my God.
gunned down as you knew she would.
I like when
She was asking for it earlier.
She was.
Yeah, no, when
wouldn't
she
shut
comes
up.
out the first time and she does like the crazy body movie.
Yeah.
She's got like that.
Movements
She's
with
got
it.
like I don't know what that is. Like
Yeah,
MC
we-
Hammer stance.
yeah.
She's like, "We made you. We made you.
Yeah.
You
Did
can't do
Did
this."
anybody feel like that scene was like Stephen King saying like, now this is the part where we say something, a commentary about the United States of America. These trucks, they're made in the USA. They're stamped with all of them. And then she comes out and she says, "We made you." And
I
then
hope-
she's killed.
That scene
I don't
happens twice,
And then it
essentially,
fails
though.
completely.
Yeah, it does happen
Yeah.
twice.
Like if
They're
they
like,
did
you
it
didn't
once,
quite
okay.
nail it the first time. Maybe give it a little bit more.
Yeah.
It seemed like he was trying to take it to a serious tone.
I would admit,
And then failed.
or that was just a creative decision made by that actress. She's
Improv.
like, you know what, my character would have been upset by the fact that we made these things and they're attacking us.
And he's like,
Maybe
"Shut the
and maybe he was
fuck
so
up. Can we
coked out.
kill
He's just
her?
like, yeah,
Can we
you know
kill
what? Let's
her?"
just try it. We'll keep it. It's fine.
Is it
Up
confirmed that
actresses,
he
am I
was
right?
coked out this whole time?
Yeah, he said
Okay,
it.
good.
He
Because
said it.
because we've said it a lot, so
No,
I
he
want to
said
make
it.
sure that it's okay.
Yeah.
Did anyone else cringe like real hard when that the turkey cutter went into the waitress's arm? Because that made me cringe really hard.
I thought that was a good
effect.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one got
Honestly,
me.
No, nothing in this movie made me cringe.
Really?
No.
Not even the acting.
With that, let's go
No.
to the ratings.
like all of the deaths, all of the stuff reminded me of a trauma film where it was like so like really over the top and splatty.
I wouldn't go that far.
And I was kind of
Yeah, I
like,
wouldn't go that far either.
really? You didn't think like when people get hit by cars and
They
explode?
were really splatty. Yeah, the
That
hits
would
were
happen.
really
yeah.
splatty.
Get hit by a semi and tell me you don't explode.
I don't think you would explode into a puddle of blood. No, I don't think you explode like a water balloon.
I don't know.
It's another explosion.
Depends
okay?
on how fast it's going. A lot of science in this that I would like to
yeah.
break down to you, but I don't have the
Yeah.
time
I don't
to teach you science.
Okay, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Okay.
Remember
This
that.
isn't a
next
science
time.
show, Mike.
Yeah, this is a science
That's
show.
for another show.
All right. So let's rate this. Let's go ahead and put it in the park. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let it idle for a while and let's
Sure.
rate this.
Just waiting for gas.
We're gonna rate it Green Goblin trucks.
Just waiting for hot air here. Let's see what you got.
We're gonna rate it Green Goblin trucks. So let's start with Mike.
All right. I'm going to give this 2 Green Goblin trucks.
More than I thought he was gonna give it.
You know what? I don't think this film is that bad. Like, everybody talks about this film being so bad, but honestly, I feel like there were times when I was watching this where I felt like he was trying to go in a certain direction, and a lot of it was kind of like a trauma-esque direction.
Yeah.
Like, big deaths, lots of blood, creative blood baths of things. Like, I thought all of that stuff was there, and I gotta give him credit for that. I think he just fails in, like, the story, for one. Like, I don't know what the point of all of this was. Probably like this review that I'm giving right now. I don't even know where to start or where to end. I just know that I liked a lot of the blood stuff.
Okay.
I was really into the blood.
Yeah.
2 of those trucks. I'm done. Go ahead.
2 trucks from Mike. Next up, let's go to Kyle.
This is a really hard movie for me to rate because, like, if I were to look at it on paper, yeah, it's like I think it's a bad movie. I don't think the writing's very good. There are some catchy bits of dialogue and stuff, but it also is like ridiculous. And I'm not quite prepared to say it's so bad it's good. I think it's so bad right now. And maybe if I watch it a few more times, I might pick up on more stuff that I will just end up being beaten into submission into laughing at because it's so ridiculous. But yeah, this is a movie I would be very happy to see remade. And it's funny that we are going to play the remake game because I did think this while watching it. I was like, this could be a good movie in the future. My cast will not reflect that, of course, but I think overall I'm going to agree with Mike. I'm going to give it 2.5. I'm going to go middle of the road because it isn't a good movie, but it isn't completely terrible. But yeah, it is. I don't know.
Chris?
I'm done.
Hi. I fucking love this movie, dude.
Of course you fucking do.
I've always liked this movie. I've seen it probably 2 or 3 times now. And I always like get more pleasure out of it every time I watch it. Seriously. It like I'm never disappointed ever, and I always see a scene that I missed from the last time. And so no, I mean, yeah, you're right though. It's not a great film, but I love the idea that it's Stephen King's only film that he's directed, and it is one of his stories, and the whole backstory that I didn't know about his condition on set and like everything that went down. Like now going back like and thinking about all this stuff I just saw, I'm like, holy shit, they pulled off a lot, actually. Like, there's a ton of explosions. There are a good amount of death scenes. There's a lot of action and stunts involved in this film. People going through windows of cars and shit. Like, it's crazy. And, the characters are, not developed at all. But, I like Emilio. I liked Repo Man. I got a Repo Man vibe on this film for some reason. I think all the other characters were enjoyable. Brett's not that memorable, but everybody else, I think, did a really good job. Love the kid story interjected into it, which I think is a kind of a Stephen King staple. So like, there's a lot I can find that I like about this film. I like that the trucks were even like given character, like they're given personalities, and you actually like get a feeling when they're on screen. The way they shoot it, the cinematography was really great. It puts you in like, it's actually almost too good for this movie, I feel like, but it helped bring those stunts to life. So I'm gonna give this. What are we rating it again? I forgot. Our Green Goblin.
Green Goblin truck.
Green Goblin trucks. I'm gonna give this 4 Green Goblin trucks.
4 Green Goblin trucks.
You know, he can I just say he did bring up something that I wanted to touch on. He said he was really excited. He thinks it's really cool that this is Stephen King's only movie directed. I agree. I think it is very cool having seen this that he hasn't made anything else. I'm very happy about that.
I also would like to. I would also like
very
to state
happy.
That Stephen King has commented on this film,
and
he said that this is the film that is the worst film adapted from any of his stuff. He's going to say, and he will never direct again because he's trying to save the audience.
Well, I'll thank him for his one gift that he left to the film community.
Are we playing a remake game after this?
Yeah.
Well, Cody needs to
recast this podcast. Or what are you talking about?
Or
I'm allowed to like this movie.
Yeah,
Fuck
so
you.
You're allowed to.
I'll go next.
You're allowed to like Return to Oz.
I'll go next. Let's call him out.
Love you, Mike. I'm just kidding.
12-year-old Cody is still in love with this movie. I still love it. Like, adult Cody has a hard time sometimes. Like, I would be like, God damn it. But then, like, someone gets knocked in the head with a soda can at like a high rate of speed, and I'm like, I'm back in. I'm back in. Because 12-year-old me just gets excited about killer trucks. There's something about killer trucks that's exciting, and I can't help but watch it and enjoy it every time. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I bash on it for because they need to be bashed on, but overall, this film is just enjoyable to me. I really enjoy it, so I'm going to give it actually a 3.5.
Hey, all right.
Fuck yeah.
So I'm the asshole yet again.
Or I'm the asshole.
You're the asshole for giving it such
for
high
liking this
regards.
You idiot.
All right, so let's just jump into it. Let's jump into the remake game.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Let's figure out what everybody, how they are going to go with the direction of their film.
Sure.
And who they would
I
cast.
feel like this doesn't.
Who would direct it.
He loved this film so much he's going to cast it the same way
It doesn't need to be
he
up
saw it.
So what I want to know is, Kyle, I want to know who you casted as Bill. Who your Bill is.
Wait. We have to talk about the direction first.
Okay.
Should we start with director and work our way?
No, he's saying direction.
Yeah, like
Direction.
where are you going to... Because if you're going to say
Direction.
Direction.
Yeah, like
that... my entire cast reflects the direction
like the director
Yeah, no, so does my
describes
cast.
the direction.
I'm remaking this movie as is.
So you're doing
Okay,
like
then-
with
then
new
you
cast and a better director.
Then can we start with the director then?
are you doing like a shot-for-shot remake, like a Psycho?
No, it's not going to be a shot-for-shot remake, but
Okay.
it's going to be a remake. I'm not going to completely change the
Would
story.
would it be like more? Okay, let me ask you this: more horror heavy or comedy?
Why don't you just let me read off my shit?
We'll discuss
Why
it.
are we making this more
how
difficult
are we doing
than it
this?
needs
We're
to be?
going around. We're going one by
Let's
one.
just start with directors. I'll go
Director,
first.
I think, is first. Yeah.
First, Frank Darabont. He has proven himself to be able to take Stephen King's work and translate it into a really fantastic film. So
you're going with like a hardcore adaptation of.
he doesn't do a Frank Darabont doesn't do a hardcore. He injects his own personality into it. And I'm not going with any kind of. I'm not thinking of style. That's all on you. I'm just remaking this movie. I'm not going to think about all that.
You're terrible. You're not.
I'm a
studio set.
fantastic
You're
producer.
you work for Warner Brothers. Chris, who would you pick to direct it?
To direct the film,
Yeah.
the first person that came to mind immediately was George Miller, the guy who did the Mad Max.
That's a
Fury
great
Road, Mad
fucking
Max.
choice, actually.
Yeah.
But
God
like,
damn.
think
Way better than
about
mine.
what he's capable of doing after seeing Mad Max, and then going into a film like this that's a little more low key, but. Like he's proven himself with destruction and vehicles, and I think that this could be a good thing.
That's a
to
great choice.
riff on.
Yeah.
That's a really fucking
Going
great
a very
choice.
different direction.
I'm going so different than everybody
Yeah, I
else.
know.
What do you
Going
mean
a very
different? What do you mean different? He's
No,
just
him.
picking
I'm
a
just
different-
saying he's going a different direction than my next.
That's good.
Because you're gonna get a certain movie out of that director, Kyle. What do you mean? You're gonna get a certain movie out of it, right? So that obviously is going to reflect the direction of the film that you'd be going
Who'd you pick?
in.
Stephen King?
Who?
Fuck no.
No, I listen. I went 2016 on this.
Okay. Who's next? Me?
Yeah.
All right.
Mike.
I went with Kyle's pick as well. I went with Frank Darabont.
There you go.
Reason being.
Wow.
Reason being. Let me tell
Good
you why.
theme here.
This was a lot.
A good
like-
film. That's what
First of all, right? He's great at adapting his stuff.
Yes.
He's already been proven to do that, right? It has things of the mist in it, which he actually did direct. And also, this does have a feeling of like a Night of the Living Dead.
Which
What did he create? Walking Dead. He started that whole show up.
Yeah, he did that for the first 5 seasons or
He
some
did it
shit?
until he got fed up, I guess. I don't know what
Yeah.
he did. He just didn't like the direction of where it was going, and then he quit.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's already proven this. So I mean, yeah, mine would be a strict to go in direction. Yeah, it's gonna be strict drama. I'm going strict drama on this.
Okay. All right. I went with the comedy route.
Do
Actually.
it. Go for
and
it.
I went
Glad.
with Paul Feig.
Okay.
And what has Paul Feig done?
Bridesmaids, the new Ghostbusters is about to
Yeah.
come out.
Okay.
Okay. I went with him because I want to give him him here's a hard R, but I want your comedy in it. Here's
right.
your hard R, and I want your comedy.
I like it.
Okay. So, who's your Bill, Kyle?
Well, this film wouldn't even make sense without a little bit of comedy to it. So my bill is James Franco.
Well, that's a good Bill.
I like that. I wish I would have thought of that.
I wish I would have thought. Oh, I'm close. I'm not far
Did
off.
you do his brother?
Chris, your Bill?
Can I change mine to James Franco?
No, fuck off. You go with what you picked.
All right, well, that's my real choice. But I was thinking more like kind of goofy on this one. I put down two, actually. I put down Ben Foster, like a younger Ben Foster.
Okay.
Ben Foster.
And then I also put down Shia LaBeouf.
Wait, you got two bills in your movie?
Interesting.
He was my second choice, but it spelled out Shania LaBeouf in my phone.
Yeah.
So we're gonna refer to him as
Shia LaBeouf.
Shania LaBeouf.
Shania LaBeouf.
Who was your director again?
James Franco.
No.
Oh, sorry. That was my bill, right?
He could do it,
so
though.
on James Franco now.
So good.
Wait,
That would be perfect for
it was the guy who did Mad Max, right?
Yeah, George
right,
Miller.
George Miller. Yeah.
George Miller. Your Bill.
My bill was Michael B. Jordan.
Oh!
I just like Michael B. Jordan and everything.
Yeah, he's
That's
good.
I just
choice.
want to see him in everything.
That'd be a good choice.
Yeah.
That'd be
For a
good choice.
drama, I think he's
For
fantastic.
a drama, yeah, that's
Yeah.
a better direction.
Yeah.
I went with Paul Rudd.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
I
Guys
went
like
with
pushing 50, but
Listen.
all right.
He doesn't look it.
No, he definitely doesn't. He looks like the same way he looked in Clueless.
Yeah. He does not look like he's that's my thing. He does not look like he's pushing 50, and he's proven in Ant-Man that he can kind of play a little bit of an action role.
Agreed.
Okay.
So he can play like
good.
he can kind of play it like a smart ass. I'm looking at a smart ass Bill, who's just got out of prison. All right, you're Bubba.
Well, I love every time this actor plays an asshole and a bad guy. So I went with Gary Oldman.
Oh,
Nice.
good choice, but I feel like my choice might be better. Let's feel that way.
Your
course you
choice
do.
would be better.
I feel like he throws Gary Oldman in every remake he does.
He loves Gary.
Oh,
Oldman.
I'm sorry. He's a good actor. Fuck
Gary
you.
Oldman.
Let's get Daniel Day-Lewis.
You know who can play a good
Nah, he
lassie?
wouldn't fit.
Gary Oldman.
Daniel Day-Lewis's face as the Green Goblin truck.
Chris, you're Bubba.
Sorry. Bubba, I put down John Goodman.
Oh,
I thought that too. I thought that
Good
when
choice.
I was thinking
I think
through
he
it.
could go comedy or he could go serious
Yeah,
drama.
definitely.
Mike.
I fucking agree. I said John Goodman
Yeah.
as well.
Whoa.
Serious
See?
drama.
This is crazy.
We
You
don't
guys
always disagree.
You guys
Yeah.
are connecting today. Mine was J.K. Simmons.
Okay.
Good one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
I
really
like that
good
as
one.
well.
For,
Yeah.
for the way my movie's going, I feel like it's actually
J.K.
pretty
Simmons
good.
is good.
Pretty
I'm stealing that one too.
All right, you're Brett. Give me your Brett. Kyle, I'm ready for your Brett.
My Brett is Mia Kunis.
Oh,
Okay.
good choice. Good choice.
Good.
There you go. Nothing else needs to be said. Chris?
Done. Yeah, I put down Anna Kendrick.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Kendrick Lamar.
I would like to see her in a little.
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar.
I'd like to see her in a little bit more of like a offbeat but badass kind of role.
All right. Yeah, definitely.
Of course you do.
I can see it.
Who'd you go with?
Okay,
Mike?
sorry to go back into the stories I've heard about this film, but originally Stephen King wanted to cast a tomboy in this, right?
Hilary Swank. You went with Hilary Swank.
No. Dino De Laurentiis said no, fuck that, and they went with Laura Harrington. But I feel like if I had Frank Darabont on my crew, he'd be like, no, I'm doing a strict story, right? So I went with Rooney Mara, who was in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Oh, okay.
I thought I'm kind of going that route. I want to keep her
That's
like
a
a
good
real
choice.
hardcore tomboy.
That's actually a
that
really
would
damn
totally
good choice.
that would fit into the George Miller version of this.
Yeah, that would
either
too.
way, Chris.
Yeah, why don't you take that one as well?
I'll borrow that.
I went with for my Brett. I went with Olivia Munn.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, she's terrible in X-Men. Jesus,
she's bad. That's why I'm giving her this movie. Redeem yourself. I'm saying I'm giving her this movie. Redeem yourself with a little bit of a horror comedy.
Yeah, you got to go back to that genre.
Yeah.
Attack of the
You
Show.
got to learn a few things.
Yeah.
No, you know what? She was good in the newsroom.
Go somewhere where you can screw
The
up.
newsroom.
Yep.
You know. Plus,
Not
Brett's
worry about
Still look cool.
Brett's not the biggest character in my movie too.
She's not.
Yeah. So. All right. So. Here we go. This is where it gets important, right? You got to. I feel like you have the power couple in this one is Curtis and Connie, so you got to build a good couple.
I got
Okay.
it.
Okay. All right. Because Curtis,
Nathan Lane and Robin Williams.
We're going straight for a glitch on this film.
and Curtis is the sidekick too, so you got to have a good sidekick. And I felt like he was a little bit of the comedy relief. So, who is your Curtis, Kyle?
I don't want to say Donnie Wahlberg.
Really? Huh.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Why not?
This is where he just gave up on casting.
He did.
Johnny Wahlberg.
I hope somebody says Vanilla Ice in this one.
Chris.
Curtis, Seth Green.
Oh,
Okay.
I would hate him.
All right.
I fucking hate that actor.
Jesus.
I think if you put him
He
in a little
strikes
bit
me
more
as
of
such
a,
an annoying person.
but
Okay.
I don't know
they're
him.
pretty
I don't know
annoying as a
personally.
couple. That's kind of how I saw. They're pretty
Yeah.
annoying as a couple.
Yeah.
Okay. Mike.
Here's what I came up with. Direction. We're going back to the direction.
Yes, got
okay. A pivotal setting in this movie is that it takes place in the South, North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
So I saw it as a really young couple, like a 15-year-old, 16-year-old couple.
Okay.
So I went with Tom Holland
Oh, nice.
as Curtis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spider-Man in the new Civil War, young kid, good actor, showed his acting chops in that film. That's my choice.
I went with a box office hit.
Oh, there we go.
Vin Diesel.
No, he may not. He may not have made a lot of good movies, but I'm hoping this is
Vin
the
Diesel.
one. I'm hoping this is the one.
Adam Sandler.
Mike Curtis is Kevin Hart.
Ooh, okay.
Mike Curtis is Kevin
That's
Hart.
actually a damn good choice.
Not bad. I like it for
That's
comedy.
good.
Yeah,
Works.
I'm putting a
That's
cast
a good
together.
choice. That's a good choice. You had one so far. That's been good. Good job.
Who is your Connie?
Sofia Vergara.
Oh, wow.
What?
Okay.
Interesting choice,
That's
actually.
an interesting one.
Yeah. I like there's a dichotomy of the two characters.
Yeah, it
there.
certainly is.
I forgot. Yeah. Yeah.
I like
You
that.
have the lesser known Wahlberg and the girl from Modern Family.
Exactly. I don't know. That'd be good. Whatever.
Chris.
Well, to play opposite of Seth Green, I put Amy Schumer.
Okay.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah,
Let's see that.
that is cool.
Mike.
Going with the young people, I went with Maisie Williams. She's the plays Arya in Game of
Oh, okay.
Thrones.
Yep.
Yeah, she's like 14, 15. Yeah.
My Connie, maybe not a popular choice, but I don't care. I went with Leslie Jones to play opposite of Kevin Hart.
Okay.
I went with I went with a bigger woman than he would because he's like 3 feet tall.
Yeah, he's
I just
2 feet tall
thought
and she's like
the
7 feet
visual
tall.
of that would be fun to play off with, and how loud she is also would match what Yearly, whatever her name is, did.
Cool.
No.
Well, there you go. An odd silence follows that game. So
And there it is. There's our
yeah.
remakes. Well, who's won? Who's had the best remake? I think Mike
How do we
won,
decide?
actually. I think I'm just saying
I don't
personal
know.
choice.
I like Chris's picks too.
personal
I
choice.
liked something from everyone.
Personal, yeah, but see, I don't feel like a lot of his. I think he had a good cast. Just mismatched with. I don't feel like that director would be great for that cast.
Mike's is great if he's going straight drama.
Oh, I think Mike's is the best one.
I feel like mine is also leaning way more towards drama, but with a little more comedic
Yeah.
elements still left over.
There are no winners in this game.
Well, there's
Yeah.
got to be.
The
I'm gonna
fans
give
will
it to Mike.
decide.
The fans
And
will.
you know what? You guys can let us know in the comments and let us know whose you thought was the best recast.
There you go.
I want to recast this.
You want to recast the recast you just did? Yeah, I don't blame you.
Recast.
Why? Because you know I won.
Recast.
Because I had the right director, but you guys had all the right actors.
All right, guys, that's our show for this week. Make sure you follow us on social media at @cultfilm_review. You follow that's on Twitter and on Instagram. You can also follow us on Facebook. Please subscribe to us on iTunes or wherever you listen, and please rate us also wherever you listen and iTunes.
And leave a comment.
Yeah, it really helps us out, and it helps us be seen. So help us be seen. Yeah, I don't know why I said it like that.
Okay,
this is weird. You can follow Mike
at Mike Salucio on Twitter, and I'm writing everywhere now, I guess.
Yeah, where are you writing now?
I'm writing at Modern Times Magazine.
.com.
Got some stuff going on there. Yeah, I'm still on the blog, kind of. You know what I mean?
Get the blog going too.
Might just, you know.
What's the name of that blog again?
I can't remember anymore.
Friendly Neighborhood Filmmaking.
Haven't been there in so long. It's like an old friend.
The old friendly neighborhood.
You need to brush the cobwebs off that blog.
I recollect a long time ago.
He writes by candlelight and with a quill.
Yep, I do.
You can follow Chris.
You can go to Midnight Releasing and check out some upcoming independent horror films. We've got this
awesome movie of the week.
Dude, there's always a movie of the week. Always. We've got some interesting stuff coming out that we don't usually do. We've got a documentary about Donald Trump and the Heinz ketchup family and how they're from the same town.
They are?
That's what
Is
the
that
documentary's
true?
about.
Yeah.
Is that
Is that a
happen to be
factual
from the
thing?
same town?
This sounds like a really interesting documentary.
It's
I can't wait to see it.
It's just it's fascinating to hear about like the family, like the history of the Trumps and the history of the Heinz family.
That reminds me, Marla Maples is in this as an extra in Maximum Overdrive. She plays like girl number 2.
See?
I think it's like the first wife of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
First
But the
wife.
horror movie that's coming out real quick, if you want to hear about a horror
Sorry.
movie, Knucklebones, check it out.
I'm pretty sure you've said Knucklebones before, but still go check it out.
Yeah.
If you like it,
It
go
needs
for
2
it.
shout-outs.
Tell everybody. I want everyone to know.
You can follow Kyle.
You can follow me on Instagram at cultfilm_Kyle and also on Twitter at that same name.
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at cultfilm_Cody, although I never post anything.
No, you don't.
Nope.
Never.
Because I'm too busy running this podcast.
You like retweeting, though.
Yeah.
into the ground.
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, just remember, if you're going to join a cult, make sure they watch good movies. We'll see you next week.